Um, have you boys got anything you want me to cover specifically, or am I just going to ramble for?
No, we can have a look at EA after you've looked at EU. I think EU is going up because I think the DXY is coming down.
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, I know George, we talked about this earlier. Um, I had a quick glance at it, and it makes loads of sense for it to not go up, but at least up until this sort of news week,
Yeah,
news imbalance.
there's a big bit of supply up there on that start of FOMC push,
Yeah,
but potentially you could see a decent retracement on the Dixie, so it might come above that.
yeah. Well, obviously, I've not marked this one up fully, but obviously we were looking at I was looking at GU in the Friday, I think it was. The GU makes loads of sense to me, so obviously you good about follow it. Obviously, if it's as long as it's the dollar weakness we start to see. Um, so obviously last week gave a lot of setups for me, and I ended up taking two losses, I think, rather than any winners. But the one that I hesitated on was all the winners. Um, no biggie, bounce weapon. But I even spoke about this at the uh, Reddit workshop weekend. Because I covered this trade here. Um, yeah, I was anticipating a reaction out of this zone from this sell here. It didn't quite reach it. But I had these couple of imbalances marked. I'll show you them in a minute. But basically, Friday, it's it pretty much filled that line I've got marked perfectly. I'm a bit annoyed that I can really spot this, but it's, uh, it's fairly clean now that obviously it's played out, obviously, which is always the case. But obviously, it's filled the imbalance line to the dot that I had. I think in the Newsweek it was filled actually, with quite a big push. But I mean, I was looking at this on my tablet and I just didn't spot this as a 1 minute high. I think I was I didn't spot that as a high for whatever reason. But it's it's quite clean to be fair. I would have been looking nearly hours this morning, I guess. That here sometime. Um, but yeah, I mean this is super clean. So great structure there. So still the imbalance, major imbalance. Uh, Trend line, what equal lows and sweep mitigates the imbalance. Break it to the upside. And it comes back and goes. So here, which one shows from that point there is also where it breaks the 1 minute high. This here. That, but doesn't really do much. Just playing this kind of here. This obviously, but say week out, but I don't really always see on the very extreme. If it comes back, it might react out of it, but my first thought would have always been kind of getting into it first. And then, so it does. Um, to that point. Would have been, you know, the overall time would be somewhere around. I would definitely recommend taking some of the review background. But now we would definitely target something like that. Some balance in here. But if you look on the minutes and see what's, I would always look at the lower time frame than the second biggest one. This one that you look at something like that would be really nice. I don't know if it's dominant by what it's like. Yeah, roughly 48 hours between on Friday. Not wrong. I think it's that obviously. Well, yeah, I mean, Steve, if you've got any stuff you want to throw in, mate, take a look and we can tell you your opinion on it, mate, later from that. But yeah, obviously that was just on Friday and all. So the fact that obviously thinking GU might actually start buying real hard and EU like to do at least similar. I do anticipate that one to come close to the but I'd be really keen for it to at least take this high now if it belongs. Yeah, definitely the target on that. This is what we were trying to this morning. So, well, it's a shame because this is a hindsight spot as well. This possibly play that platinum. But I think I was looking for, I wanted it to sweep a lot rather than the amount 1963 so
Yeah, Lee, your audio is breaking up quite a bit.
oh sorry man.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Lee. You're doing my trick, sound like you're underwater.
Is that any better?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, night and day.
Yeah, my lead was
Did you
half out.
Did you take your snorkel off?
Well, yeah, it's even worse than that. To be fair, mate, my lead was half in the an aux plug. So
Just the tip again, was it?
yeah, just a tip, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite entertaining trying to figure out what you were saying.
I ain't got to start again, have I?
No.
Yeah. Obviously, the sell down on Tuesday was, in hindsight, is relatively clear. Obviously, in the moment, not so much. So obviously, we've got an imbalance fill here, and it was just off the line, but I'd be happy with that. So from that point, we've got a 1 minute break under here, which it does here. So then in reality, we're looking for an entry somewhere in possibly from that to that high there. And obviously you see exactly what it does. I think that's the news, I'm guessing. 7 on Wednesday. GBP CPI, I think. But yeah, it's relatively clean. I can't remember what these seconds charts are like, but it's met the rules at least. Anyway, that's the overall criteria sort of met. I'm guessing it looks like it fills this maybe. Maybe just short of. Yeah, that's what I mean. I suppose the 5 minute or the 1 minute was the play. But yeah, the sell into the buy relatively difficult both ways, but both meet the rules, both meet the criteria, both hit confirmations, did exactly what you would want them to do. It was pretty much the same all week for me, to be fair. Just kept messing up, I guess. So not a good week, but should have been potentially. Should have been a fantastic week. So been a brave hold as well to hold it all that way, I guess. But obviously the opportunity is there, guys. It's whether we take them or whatever. It's the opportunities are there. So from Tuesday to Friday, possible 80, 90 odd hour. That was 80. Yeah. But yeah, it's obviously it was bearish up until that point, but it might be turning long now. I think structure wise, we're in a point where we could turn around. Obviously, high, low, high, high. This could be the high low before it continues up, or it could continue down. So yeah, I sort of do anticipate. I did I think Euro USD. I sort of anticipated coming a touch lower, possibly. On the daily, what mess that is. Yeah, I think I've got a little zone just in here that I thought it might be coming for. But obviously, this is what George is looking at. George is looking out of something out of here, and this will be his 15-minute breaker, and then it's come back and it's filled an imbalance, I believe. So George is looking for a retest and a buy up. George is killing it at the minute, so it's definitely something else to pay attention to and take his markup on board at least. Yeah. After this, I'm going to delete a lot of my markups, previous markings. Some risk for that. Let's do that. But yeah, there's a real good chance. Like obviously, if George is obviously if we look at GU in respect to EU, obviously it looks like it's filled an imbalance in here or along here, and then I'm thinking GU might just continue up now. George hoping for a retracement and then a buy up, I think, into an entry. So real possibility that it will sort of head that direction. Right. Right trend line. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on both of them closely over the festive period at least. And I think obviously because it's been quite bearish recently, or at least you'll pull back at least anyway. So there'll definitely be some pips to be made. That's my opinion on EU and GU anyway. I think it's possibly already played out for the original buy, so I'll be looking for more entries for buying up to at least fill this on EU anyway. Other trades that I missed during the week include this one. Same as always. This fills an imbalance in here, I believe. I've done a line all the way across, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure this fills an imbalance in this news wick, and then obviously we get a change of character, and then it mitigates what becomes an entry in there, and then who's joining in? Obviously, the target would have been these imbalances here. We've possibly got a sweep under here. Goes a bit lower. He started to build up this trend line as well. I thought it might actually take that and then possibly fill a lower imbalance, but it's 15 hour there. So would have been fairly happy at that. Can you guys hear my dog barking?
No.
No,
Annoying.
tell it to bark louder.
Well, no, because he will give it a good go. Unless you tell him, he won't really stop.
No, he's all right.
Yeah.
Nice little trend line there.
Which one? This one or?
Lower one there. This is what you've done to me now. I'm appreciating trend lines.
Yeah.
My life is ruined.
Well, I mean, because you see them sort of like, especially obviously I do the accurate ones because I mean, yes, like we spoke about it the other night. It takes away the doubt as to whether it's liquidity or not. If you just go for the best and clean ones, it's never in question. You know that there's a real high probability that they're going to get taken. So
Yeah.
I suppose that's why I do the clean ones. But yeah, you see him get swept and then reversed on so often because obviously you call them dumb money lines now. You get like your dumb money that think it's going to react off, and then the manipulation takes them out, and then it goes a direction that they want, which is why we always wait for it to be taken. Hopefully, it mitigates something up here. Well, obviously, this trend line it's pretty much bang on equal highs. It's good enough for me. If it's like it sweeps up into something in here, so there'll be an imbalance in there, and then waiting for a 1 minute change of character as a final confirmation. But we're always waiting for the liquidity to be taken, and it doesn't always reverse from the sweep, but it's a good indication of obviously it gets taken, then we wait for confirmations. Because if you'd have just got in of a random imbalance fill below here, you took a loss here, you'd maybe take other losses as well.
Yeah, we don't do that, do we?
No. So you'd got absolute rinse for this one, which I'm guessing was news. But yeah, they're a good indication of. Obviously, they're used for targets as well. So any trades that I'm in, I'm always looking at the. So GU looked at it. obviously if I do ever get into a trade and I'm looking for targets, is usually trend lines equal highs, lows, highs and lows that are targets, or an imbalance fill of some sort. So still be an imbalance in here on the whatever time frame. Like I say, this is a real good target here for GU if I'd have caught it on Friday. You've got equal liquidity here, imbalance above it, nice hard block. 12 o'clock, I'm not sure if that's news or not. But yeah, I'd say that imbalance fill would have definitely been an area for a take profit. I'll keep my eye on it this week, see if it hits, and obviously it keeps the eye trained up and things.
What's your TP level? Was it 2.6?
The one I've just marked.
Yeah, 2.6240. What have I got? I've got 2.6950 actually.
269.
Yeah, I got two. Yeah, I've got a TP of roughly no 2.6814.
So with this level here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just obviously something which I've marked out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's obviously it's a real possibility, mate, especially if obviously the buy up might just be obviously it's filled obviously with this thing to the left, the sweep and the break of structure, the order block that it's tapped into. Structure wise, very much so, because obviously we've got so we've got this structure going on. Could say that. Got that, but there is a good chance this could be inducement and internal liquidity. Just with this being such a big push, that could be classed as one leg, I think. So this high becomes a trap for sellers, takes them out, mitigates whatever in here, and then continues to make a lower low. That's a possibility. It makes sense as well. Deeper lows here that got taken yet. Yeah, it is a possibility, mate. It's I think if we was in the buy though, I would be saying it's an ambitious one. It's I mean, me personally, like I say, I'd be worried about this area first. But I mean, you might find it's one of them. If you was in it, I would always say watch it around this area because you often find these areas they'll either smash through it and take everybody's stop losses if it's a direct trap. So obviously, if I get a trade wrong, I always find that my stop loss get absolutely obliterated. So it very rarely prats around and then takes me out. It obliterates it, or it prats around and wins sometimes. So I'd say I would watch it around this area, and if it started prattling around, I'd probably just take the trade. So especially if you sat at like 50 odd hour up, because there's a lot of money, even if you put a low risk on it, still a lot of money at 50 odd hour. So, but obviously, I'd also be making sure on what else it's doing as well. So, if it started creating more liquidity, you might find it makes a trend line along there, or so it might make a couple of touches, sweep it, and then I'd be thinking about getting out after the sweep. So there's loads of possible outcomes. It's all hearsay at the minute, but yeah, it'd be a very ambitious take profit there, mate. Like I say, because I think this area's your initial worry next. So, and you'd be double pissed off if you had a TP at 76 and it comes up here and turns around and because
Yeah, that
this
happens to
might
me.
be this might be a structure, mate. So,
It,
but
hap-
I mean,
it
if
happens to me
you
all the time.
well, the thing is, mate, if you was in this and then you posted that your TP was there, I'd be saying you was a greedy bastard after this point. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, it's obviously we don't know what exactly where it's going to go to. We're obviously we can try and anticipate it and build, like look at structures around it, but there's no guarantee. Whereas it's more likely to come here. So yeah. So if you're in it, mate, and you're holding out for here, think about it here
Yeah,
first.
that makes sense, mate.
Yeah, all right.
Noted. Yeah, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
we spoke yesterday about TP areas as well, didn't we? So
Yeah,
I'll I'll just explain that briefly to others that obviously that are either on or will watch it back. Um, so obviously I'm usually setting my take profits at imbalance fills. So let's say this is an imbalance fill in there, just a touch higher. So like that's an imbalance to be filled in there. My TP is usually an imbalance fill purely because I mean, unless this was set up equal highs or it was setting up a trend line, there's no guarantee that if this is a structure high, there's no guarantee that it's going to come and take the high because it might his objective might be to just set a new lower high and then go and make a lower low. So just by having it that extra bit further, so say above here, you are adding another layer of risk to the trade, or less probability. Obviously, it's nice if it does because you'd gain more risk to reward and more pips. But this order block somewhere in here is definitely a safer bet. Um, if there was major equal highs directly above it, things like that, I would say yeah, you maybe hold for it if you're brave enough. But I don't. I mean, at the minute, I don't see anything major above that. Actually, makes me think it's going to go high, high. So there is a very real possibility of a new lower low, I think. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on with it anyway. So I need to clear up my charts and have a proper clean out and a remark of them. I think initially from Redditch, I think I was actually wanting to target this area down here, but that don't mean it's making it. So
I think those are, you see them like just below your cursor right now.
yeah,
That area, I think that's pretty much one of my entries, I think. Hang on a second. One sec, one sec. I got my actual entry, uh 124412. Because my plan is basically on the daily. There's quite a nice trend line on the daily. So you that BPR there as well that you've just gone past.
yeah,
Yeah, so you got a nice BPR there on, and so if you was to zoom right out, I don't know if obviously if you guys are seeing this. But if you was to go to the low of the 8th of March 2023, yeah, that one.
yeah.
Yeah. And obviously draw trend line up from there, and bounce it off. Yeah, pretty much there. So I
Yeah, so
think
this
it's
is
going
a
to
sweep
sweep.
now, isn't it?
That's it. Sweep that, and then come down to pretty much that area that we just spoke about, which for me is. So I'm just zooming in on my chart.
That's all good, mate. Just checking the quality of the trend line, see if I like it or not.
Yeah, so I've got roughly 24412.
Something down there.
So somewhere there. So obviously when I was going down on the Going down on the time frames, that was one of the entries that I found was probably most suitable for an entry.
Just below this wick low here.
24412, yeah. So that's it because you got that imbalance there as well. Just to the left. Oh, mind you, actually, you're on the daily. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna go just before it makes.
I can't remember what time frame. I did put a note on this. These are lower time frame. So maybe it's on the 1 minute. Might have to bar replay it myself. Bar replay. Um, where comes the 1 minute? Oh shit! 1 hour.
Yeah, there's a possibility, mate. I mean, if you're thinking about, obviously, if you said you've already got a pending on it, I would say you're very much on the risky side, but
Oh, really? Yeah, there's no pending yet, but that's what I set up with a 5 pip stop loss.
yeah, yeah,
So obviously, just while I'm still working stuff out, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I mean, you've got this here as well, mate. This huge imbalance, equal lows there, possibly.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there is an imbalance in there that looks relatively okay, just below the black line. But because you've got this imbalance, it's I mean, it's not something I would
that's
say
it.
to
Yeah,
hold.
I think so. The
Like, you might get a reaction out of it, mate, but very,
yeah,
like I say,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you've set a pending, this here is a no-no for me just to set a pending. Obviously, if it hits this area and changes character or the 1 minute, it's somehow up to take, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like I say, mate, I've had my eye on, I've had this marked up for, well, I would assume nearly 6 months with it being April.
Oh, wow.
Because obviously this will be my 15-minute breaker structure of one of these two highs, I'm guessing.
Did
So
you have the 24291 lined up as well then?
fast forward it, mate.
So basically, I've got like three zones in that sort of area marked up.
So obviously this is a price action it's just hit now. 2-4. It's 2429.
291.
So this
91.
little sort of thing around here.
So that would be kind of like the entry. Yeah.
So again, mate, there's a BPR here in there, so there's
I don't know.
possibly, if you're
Yeah.
saying 2429, but
That's
again,
that's what I was looking. That's what I was looking for it to kind of like wick into that, and then so what's the other one? I've got two. Yeah, 24291.
yeah, I mean, if we just zoom out a bit, mate, what I'll obviously, if we look at the highs and that on here, so this leg here, this order block that I went over the trade for the buy that happened on Fridays, hit this liquidity sweep
Yeah.
break of structure causes this break here. So if you're looking at taking a trade
Yeah.
from here or a touch lower, I think it was around here at one it somewhere a touch lower than this line. These, I mean, I'm not sure I'd class
Yeah.
any. I wouldn't really class these as a higher time frame structure. This might be like a 5 minute high or something like that. So The only thing down here I'm really looking for is like a real nice imbalance to be filled, and then favour confirmations. So if you, like I say, if you've got pendings set on these sort of couple of areas that you was looking for, extremely risky. So, but if you'd have had one along here, I mean, I know it's easy to say because it's reacted out of here, but there's, I mean, I'm not sure there's particularly any liquidity sweeps around here. I know it's manipulation looking. It does look like manipulation. I mean, it looks like this on pretty much every. If you ever think about every time you've seen a manipulation area, it all looks like this: a big push down, it stalls for whatever time frame you're on, stalls for a few candles, big sweep again, and then pushes away with a big push. So it looks like something's going on in here, manipulation.
Yeah.
But I much prefer this area, mate, from the fact that there is a build-up of liquidity, it takes it, and then it directly causes the structure to be taken up to the left. And like I said, I'm just not convinced that these are structure highs around here. These are more consolidation than pullbacks. So, obviously, if I was to have put my money on it, this would have been the reversal point. But obviously, I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong plenty of times before, and I'll be wrong a lot more times still. But yeah, it doesn't stand out to me and make me think, yeah, this is the area, you know.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, we was looking at that trend line. I don't think it's the best trend line either, but I'm not saying it's not. It's just normally preferring to be a bit cleaner.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's bang on there, I think. A little bit shy, both of them touches.
Yeah, they didn't quite touch, did they?
About 4 pips shy. I don't know. It's higher time frame, so it's probably okay. To be fair, but obviously you've got in reality, if I'm being super picky, but we've only got 2 good touches really.
Yeah, see, this is the one which I was saying to you. I wasn't that confident about this one.
Yeah.
And that's why I just wanted to, you just say like,
yeah.
no, it's not, and I agree now, so that's fine. I don't have to keep on trying to force a trade on this one, if you know what I mean.
No. But like it's one of them, mate. As well as obviously just setting pending on areas is probably something I'll try and work on you with to like, because I mean it seems a little bit mental to just go, you know, because I mean the price only like 4 days ago was hundreds of pips away, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean if we just go from like around about here, like you're expecting price to travel 400 pips and you've got a pending on.
Yeah.
It's
mad.
Obviously, it's going to reverse. It's probably already planned where it's going to reverse from, but you never know if you don't know if the banks are changing their minds on what their target is. So this is why I'd always say at least wait for breaks of structure. I would much rather miss a trade myself. I'd rather not get in and have that extra confirmation than not have it and just get in and lose. So obviously,
that's it. I knew that I was forcing this one, so that's why I just wanted to clear this one up basically, because I was like, I knew this one was a forced trade, and I was just like, I don't think this is the right trade, but at least I've got it cleared up though.
Yeah, well, I mean, like structure wise, it makes sense that there will be a buy from somewhere in here, but I'm just saying it might be where it's just reacted from and this low. but it still might go lower as well. So
Yeah.
This is why I would just say just wait on extra confirmations. Don't just set pendings on an area, because then you'll be posting or messaging me going, "I fucking I've lost," right? And then I'll just turn around and say, "Told you to wait for confirmations, mate." You know, because it's always. But
Yeah,
obviously, if we,
I'm not doing that.
yeah. So obviously, I had this imbalance marked here. Obviously, I've just gone over it 20 minutes ago or whatever, however long it's been.
Yeah.
But it gave a final confirmation along here. So obviously this, when it loads up, there you go. So obviously here it filled the imbalance that I was looking for it to be filled. Like I could have set a pending on that, but I didn't know if so. Up to that point there, or a few minutes after, as far as I was concerned, this could have and had every right to, because obviously it's trending downwards. So we've got a high, something like this. It's roughly drawn, but it's trending downwards. That's the important thing. So until it broke this, price had every right to come up to as close to this line as it wants to, with this green line, because that's the structure high of the 1 minute. It could do that and then continue. It could continue trending downwards. But obviously the fact that it has obviously the fact that it has then broken structure, that this is like pretty much the last, obviously for an entry, it's the last confirmation I'm looking for, but it's the market's first confirmation that it might want to turn direction. So if it's gone from bearish, first sign of going bullish. But obviously for me, it's the last confirmation because it's already built liquidity, sweat liquidity, mitigated the last bit of imbalance I was looking for it to be filled, or possibly the last, possibly one a touch lower. Obviously it would have been educated's not the word I don't think I'm looking for, but it's one of it. I was happy to have seen this fill to the dot, or that one to the dot, and then start looking for buys as long as we got a break above this high. So, and then obviously it's mitigated the imbalance, a huge imbalance in here that I was happy with. And then obviously it's bought up from there. So this is why I always say wait for the breaks of structure, mate, because it's the market's first sign that it might turn bullish, because otherwise it could just do this, continue trending downwards. All this price action from this low till it touches that green line and closes above it, all that is irrelevant to me until it closes above, and then obviously it becomes relevant because I'm looking for an entry in that price action. But I'm ignoring it until it breaks.
That's a very good bit of information. Thanks, mate.
No worries, mate. No worries. I'll jump to ask if anyone's got anything else they want me to cover, because we're getting up to the hour mark now. So get your questions in, guys, or if anything you want to look at or chat bollocks, I don't know. Bitcoin. Tom wanted me to look at Bitcoin. So talk Bitcoin shop for a minute. Here we go. So I was looking for a sell on Bitcoin because I believe it's filled a lovely imbalance in here. I'll just have a look. I picked the wrong area, but in hindsight, I should have split my risk on 2 entries, and then I'd have caught one. I'd have been rushing around and fretting about and doing stuff. So obviously it's filled, tucked into this candle here. I think this disappears maybe on the 5 or 10, but this becomes a lovely imbalance here. Yeah, there you go. So lovely big push down here. This is relatively filled by that. I don't know if it disappears on the 5. Yeah, so 5-second filled, no imbalance, no mark, and then pushes from this being imbalanced here. At least to under this candle, maybe not above it now, but imbalance from there to here. So we have obviously price comes, fill the imbalance, and to run it. So this is the entry that I was looking at. I had a pending start on it. So. Looks like a relatively good zone. I marked it on the lower time frame. I'll not bother looking at it in a minute because it sort of doesn't really matter because it didn't reach that high, but I believe it reacts from somewhere in here. This one here, so obviously this is the 1 minute break line. It's low here. So I believe it reacts from something like that. Possibly build up a liquidity here as well. I mean, I didn't even entertain looking at that, but that looks relatively good. So I should have spotted that. Trend line sweep breaks the actual 1 minute here. If it comes that one, it might even come up in here. I can't remember now, but I think this looks balanced. Yeah, I'm assuming it was something like that. So I'm only glancing over it quick because sort of running out of time. We're just going to tap up into this now, but but yeah, obviously, so it taps up into this, obviously. A quick daily. Like to look at some, I guess. Oh, is this running dead slow on your lot screen? It's just doing my head in. Yeah, so it taps into something here, so maybe a supply zone. I missed it anyway, so it's not relevant. But obviously we do have a possible. I mean, this is possibly internal then, but that would have been the entry in there, I think. And then obviously it started selling off again, so would have been nice. But I went safe and went up here, so yeah.
Yeah, I think I only went for that zone that I put in the Discord. I think that was just a nice build up of like internal trend line.
Yeah.
Just below the zone. So I just thought it was a good
Yeah.
zone, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I felt happy with this at the time. It sort of made a bit of sense for me to have it there. But as I say, I mean, in reality, we could have maybe taken 2 or 3 attempts at catching that. Obviously, this was the 1 minute low that gets taken. It takes it just about here, so somewhere between that low and obviously the high is. I think imbalance fills while the weight for me amazingly. I think it's the only variable that I have in my trading thing. So when it comes to entries, like obviously we said it could have been the one that I marked at first time, so I thought it could have been just below. Could have been this one that I marked up and set a pending on originally, and obviously there was a zone on this one that it's tapped into. Yeah, it's the only variable I have in my strategy, which is, I mean, it's quite annoying to be fair, because it'd be nice if I could figure out an exact way to tell which one it is, but if I could, then I wouldn't be doing lives to TFT because I'd be too rich. So, you know.
Yeah, I think my entry was about half 8. My entry was a bit further down at half 8, I think it was.
Yeah, so yeah, I did notice that. So yours was
Yeah, that spike
up was just short of it, wasn't it? So he was up here, was you?
Yeah, there was a bit of imbalance in there. Then there was the trend line build up in between.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, mate. I do fully understand why you would do that. I think what put me off, mate, was I wasn't convinced that this was again like structure lows. It's like it's consolidation-y in it, and obviously I was 1 minute breaker structure up here already, so down here was just that down here was if it come this low, I wasn't really bothered because I was like maybe coming back up here, obviously, but obviously I got it wrong. Obviously you was waiting for a bigger breaker structure, I'm guessing. So I mean, there's a real possibility that this was the actual 1 minute breaker structure down here.
Yeah.
But like I say, we all view it differently. So I mean, as long as you're sort of like consistent in yourself, mate, it don't matter. It don't matter if I view this as 1 minute low and you view this as the 1 minute low. As long as you're doing that consistently, and then obviously you're making notes and journaling and maybe seeing if this one's makes you more profitable or this one. Because I think on my 4:15 this one probably would be my 1 minute low. Obviously, my structures are bigger on that strategy, so obviously it breaks it here. So yeah, I mean, it taking that low might mean it retraces to fill an imbalance for an entry, a re-entry up here somewhere. Possibly the highs here, maybe something in here because it looks quite blurry at a distance. But I do like the look of this area. Takes this low, decent enough push down. So maybe keep this area on your radar. I'll not just be, I won't just get in anyway, but yeah, there's a good chance it might come and take liquidity. High zero trend line there. Maybe watch how it reacts out of it, sweeps, breaker structure. So there is like I say, there is a possibility that it now comes back and mitigates some up there anyway. If it's not that, it might be lower, it might be down here, it might be higher, but it'll be worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it weekends. Bit weekend fun for me, the old Bitcoin.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, I think at the minute as well is because obviously a lot of people are going to be finishing for Christmas. There's probably going to be a bit of volatility to it coming up because there'll be a lot of people looking at it, I guess, more eyes on it. So, well, I mean, I think it's obviously, I'm posted about this trend line. Might be Friday, to be fair.
When do the markets do they like what should I say? Do the markets run over like in between Christmas and New Year or not really?
Yeah, the runner's normal, mate. So
You know, it's just bank holidays and stuff that they close on New Year and Christmas Day.
yeah, so I think it'll be open. I mean, you'll have to double check, but I think it was closed last year, but I think it was on a weekend last year. Or maybe not. I can't remember. But I mean, Christmas Day, if it's open, it will be very slow because there'll
Oh
be
yeah. Yeah.
because obviously you've got obviously there's GBP, USD, obviously the euro. The majority of the euro will be bank holidays, so it'll be relatively dead anyway, mate. If it's open, but
No one wants to trade Christmas Day anyway, do they?
no,
So,
no, no, no. It's I wouldn't advise anybody even open thinking about the chart on Christmas Day, mate. Anyway,
no.
but from like obviously bank Boxing Day is a bank holiday, so that'll be either closed or really slow. But the 27th, as long as it's not a weekend this year, then it'll be normal trading day, mate. But it might be a touch slower depending on the pair. But I posted in the supply chat earlier that I posted some markups from last year. So I think there was like a possible setup on the 27th, 28th, two on the 28th, and maybe two on the 29th. So that was uh, over all the pairs I was looking at, and on me 4-15-1 strategy. But yeah, it was hell of a time to try and make money. So I mean, I'm not necessarily expecting the exact same this year, but it's there, mate, on the days in between that are tradable. So I'll be keeping an eye out myself at least. So I just won't be spending hours and hours looking at it because obviously it don't warrant it. There's
It's a
no need.
pointless task, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're spending hours and hours looking at the charts anyway, then I'd say something's wrong anyway. Unless you're so far behind on markups. So I mean, I could spend 2 or 3 hours marking up my 4-15-1 system, but then I'd be done for a few days at least. So, and that's on 30 pairs. Like now, I can pretty much flick through, and if I'm not done within the hour and a half, then there's nothing there, and I'm not really bothered and interested until at least the later on session, see if anything's generated or done something.
But that's the advantage of sticking to one strategy, just looking at one thing, one setup,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
less time on the charts.
Yeah, that is exactly it, mate. So obviously, as I started the call with, I don't know if it recorded it because my mic was shite, but obviously there was on the same system the one system that I'm trading at the minute, there was like 6 setups this week. So
How many
you,
pairs are you? Oh, what is that on your 4-15-1?
nah, that was
Yeah,
just
or
on
the-
just on the sort of like how I'm sort of trading now, mate. It's a
Yeah.
supply and demand. Um,
How
yeah,
many
I mean,
pairs is that over?
I suppose 30, mate, but I think it was so there was Ord Chef, GU, possibly 3 on GU, I think it was. Uh, Ord Chef, Euro, Euro Ord, Euro GBP. Obviously there's this Bitcoin one. I mean, I'd class that as a valid entry, so
Yeah.
possibly 7 setups. But obviously on my list I've got like 20. I'd say 30 because I don't look at the Chef JPY. I don't really look at the NZ. I don't really look at any of the JPYs. I don't really trade gold or silver. I just got them on there. I look at oil. Not keen on US 30 or 100 or the 500. I quite like German 40 and Bitcoin, so up to 30, but in reality, probably about 20, mate. Like I say,
Yeah.
I can flick through them in. I can flick through the
Yeah.
lot in about an hour easily. So I can generally I can generally flick through them really quick, even like 15, 20 minutes sometimes, and just dwindle it down to, because some you can tell that they're in the middle of nowhere and you're not interested, you know. So it takes seconds sometimes to disregard one. So yeah. Right. Is there any other questions, boys? If not, I'll call it there.
No, good for me,
Good,
mate.
thanks, mate.
All right, guys. I will, as always, if there's anything anyone wants to discuss, talk about, stick it in the supply chat, and I will always be there. So I'll catch you
Nice one.
boys. I'll catch you boys in there. Thank you.
Have a good
Right,
evening.
see you
Cheers,
later.
mate.
Cheers, boys. Bye bye.